Let me ask you something right now, and I want you to really think about this. When was the last time you looked at yourself in the mirror and said, "I'm weak"? When was the last time you felt like giving up on something that mattered to you and you blamed it on not being strong enough? I'm here to tell you something today that might change everything about how you see yourself. You ready? Here it is. You're not weak. You never were weak. You're distracted. And there's a universal difference between those two things. Weakness suggests something broken, something unfixable, something you just have to accept about yourself. But distraction is temporary. Distraction can be redirected. Distraction can be overcome. My name is Alfonso Freeman, and for the next 30 minutes, we're going to dive deep into why you've been calling yourself weak when what you really are is scattered. We're going to talk about how the world has designed itself to steal your focus, and more importantly, how you can take it back. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah came to me 3 months ago, tears in her eyes, telling me she was weak. She said she couldn't stick to anything. Started a business, gave up after 6 months. Started working out, quit after 3 weeks. Tried to learn guitar, abandoned it after buying the instrument. "Alfonso," she said, "I'm just weak. I don't have what it takes." But as we talked, something interesting emerged. Sarah wasn't failing because she lacked strength. Sarah was failing because she was trying to do everything at once, while her phone buzzed every 30 seconds, while she was checking emails during workout sessions, while she was scrolling social media instead of practicing guitar. Sarah wasn't weak. Sarah was distracted. See, we live in what I call the attention economy. Your focus, your mental energy, your concentration, these have become the most valuable commodities in the world. And there are billion-dollar industries designed specifically to harvest them from you. Think about it. Every app on your phone is engineered by teams of neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists whose job is to make you check that app as often as possible. Every website uses algorithms designed to keep you scrolling. Every streaming service uses data to keep you watching just one more episode. They're not doing this because they hate you. They're doing this because your attention is worth money. Lots of money. And while they're getting rich off your distraction, you're sitting there calling yourself weak. But here's what they don't want you to know. You have more mental strength and willpower than any generation in human history. You've just been convinced to use it on 1,000 different things instead of the one thing that matters most to you. I want you to think about your great-grandmother for a moment. She didn't have Netflix. She didn't have Instagram. She didn't have text messages interrupting her thoughts every few minutes. When she decided to learn something or build something or create something, she could focus on it for hours without interruption. You have the same brain she had, the same capacity for focus, the same willpower. The only difference is that you're living in a world designed to fragment that focus into 1,000,000 pieces. So when you can't stick to your goals, when you can't seem to follow through on your dreams, when you feel like you don't have what it takes, you're not experiencing weakness. You're experiencing the natural result of trying to focus while being systematically distracted. Let's break down what distraction actually looks like in your daily life, because I guarantee you're not even aware of half of it. First, there's digital distraction. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes during waking hours. Each time you check, it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully refocus on what you were doing before. Do the math with me. If you're checking your phone even 50 times a day, and it takes 20 minutes to refocus each time, you're spending 16, 17 hours in a state of partial attention. No wonder you feel like you can't accomplish anything meaningful. But it's not just digital. There's mental distraction, all the unfinished business in your head, the bills you need to pay, the conversations you need to have, the decisions you're avoiding. Each one of these incomplete loops is using up mental processing power in the background, like apps running on your phone, even when you're not using them. Then there's environmental distraction, the cluttered workspace, the TV on in the background, the people around you who treat your time like it belongs to them. And here's the one nobody talks about: emotional distraction. The anxiety about whether you're good enough, the fear of failure, the voice in your head questioning every decision you make. These emotions aren't signs of weakness. They're forms of distraction that keep you from taking consistent action toward your goals. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus was a writer who hadn't written anything substantial in 2 years. He kept saying he'd lost his talent, that maybe he wasn't meant to be a writer after all. But when we looked at his day, here's what we found. He would sit down to write, but his phone was always within reach. Email notifications were on. His workspace was cluttered with bills and random papers. And every time he started to write something vulnerable or meaningful, he'd get anxious and check social media to take a break. Marcus wasn't blocked because he lacked talent. Marcus was blocked because he was trying to create art while his attention was being pulled in 15 different directions. So we did an experiment. For 1 week, Marcus wrote with his phone in another room. He cleaned his workspace completely. He set specific hours for writing and specific hours for everything else. And you know what happened? In that 1 week, Marcus wrote more than he had in the previous 6 months. Not because he suddenly became more talented, but because he finally gave his talent a distraction-free environment to operate in. Your strength was always there. Your talent was always there. Your willpower was always there. It was just being divided among so many different inputs that none of it could build momentum. And momentum, my friends, is where the magic happens. All right, so now you understand that you're not weak, you're distracted. The question becomes, what do we do about it? First principle, single point focus. Your brain is not a computer processor that can multitask efficiently. It's more like a laser. A laser can cut through steel, but only when all its energy is focused on one point. Spread that same energy over a wide area, and it won't even warm up the metal. So we're going to practice what I call one thing thinking. At any given moment, you're going to choose one thing, just one, that deserves your complete attention. Not the most urgent thing, not the easiest thing, but the one thing that, if you did it well, would make the biggest difference in your life. For Sarah, that one thing was her business. Not her workout routine, not learning guitar, not organizing her house, her business. We put everything else on hold for 90 days while she focused exclusively on getting her business profitable. And you know what happened? Not only did her business take off, but she also found energy for working out and playing guitar. Why? Because success in one area created momentum that carried over into other areas. Here's how you implement single point focus. Step 1, the daily focus declaration. Every morning before you check your phone, before you do anything else, you're going to write down one sentence. Today, my primary focus is underscore, 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 underscore. Not 5 things, one thing. Step 2, the distraction audit. For 3 days, I want you to write down every time your attention gets pulled away from your chosen focus. Don't judge it, just document it. Phone notification at 10:15, worry about money at 11:30. Conversation with coworker at 2:45, just write it down. You're going to be shocked at what you discover. Most people find they're being distracted 40, 50 times per day, and they weren't even aware of it. Step 3, create focus boundaries. This is where we get practical about protecting your attention. Digital boundaries. Phone goes in another room during focus time. Email gets checked twice a day, not continuously. Social media gets a specific time limit, not unlimited access. Physical boundaries. Your workspace becomes sacred. Nothing on the desk except what relates to your one thing. Door closed if possible. A physical signal to yourself and others that you're in focus mode. Mental boundaries. This is the hardest one. When your mind starts wandering to other concerns, you gently redirect it back, not with harsh self-criticism, but with patient persistence. Step 4, the 2-hour rule. Every day you're going to protect 2 hours for deep work on your one thing, not scattered throughout the day, but 2 continuous hours where nothing else exists. Now your brain is going to resist this. It's been trained to expect constant stimulation, constant input, constant distraction. When you first try to focus for 2 straight hours, you're going to feel anxious. You're going to feel like you're missing something important. That anxiety isn't weakness, it's withdrawal. You're literally withdrawing from distraction the same way someone withdraws from any other addiction. And just like any withdrawal, it's temporary. After about a week of consistent practice, your brain starts to remember how good deep focus feels. After 2 weeks, you start craving those focused hours. After a month, you'll wonder how you ever got anything meaningful done while being constantly distracted. Let me tell you about Jennifer. Jennifer was a marketing executive who felt like she was drowning in her job. Every day felt like chaos. She was working 60-hour weeks, but felt like she wasn't accomplishing anything important. When we looked at how she was working, we found she was switching between tasks every 3-4 minutes. Email, phone call, meeting, report, email again, text message, another meeting. No wonder she felt exhausted and unproductive. So we implemented the focus solution. Jennifer started her day by identifying the one project that would make the biggest impact. She blocked out 2 hours every morning for deep work on that project. She batched her email checking to 3 specific times per day. She started saying no to meetings that didn't directly serve her one focus. Within 6 weeks, Jennifer was working 45-hour weeks instead of 60, but her productivity and impact had doubled. Her boss noticed, her team noticed, most importantly, Jennifer noticed. She felt strong again, capable. Jennifer wasn't weak before, she was distracted. And once she learned to protect her focus, her natural strength emerged. Now, I want to talk about something deeper, because learning to focus isn't just about productivity or getting more done, it's about reclaiming your power as a human being. See, when your attention is scattered, you feel scattered. When your focus is weak, you feel weak. But when you can direct your mental energy exactly where you choose, when you can stay present with what matters most to you, something profound happens. You stop feeling like life is happening to you, and you start feeling like you're happening to life. This is what the ancients called discipline, but they didn't mean harsh self-control. They meant the ability to choose your focus consciously, deliberately, powerfully. It's what separates people who drift through life from people who create the life they actually want. So how do we build this kind of unshakable focus? How do we develop the mental strength to stay centered no matter what's happening around us? First, daily focus meditation. Every morning, spend 10 minutes practicing the skill of directing your attention. Not trying to empty your mind, but practicing the ability to focus on one thing, your breath, a word, a visual image, and gently returning your focus when it wanders. This isn't spiritual practice, though it can be. This is strength training for your attention muscle. Second, progressive focus challenges. Start with 25-minute focused work sessions. When that becomes comfortable, increase to 45 minutes. Then 90 minutes, then 2 hours. You're literally building your capacity for sustained attention the same way you'd build physical strength at the gym. Third, environmental design. Make focus the default, not the exception. Remove distractions from your environment before you need to resist them. It's easier to eat healthy when there's no junk food in your house than it is to resist junk food when it's sitting on your counter. Fourth, the completion practice. One of the biggest sources of mental distraction is all the unfinished business in your life. The projects you started but didn't complete. The conversations you need to have but keep avoiding. The decisions you need to make but keep postponing. Every incomplete loop in your life is like a program running in the background of your computer, slowing everything else down. So once a week, make a list of everything that feels unfinished in your life. Then either complete it, delegate it, or consciously decide to let it go. Don't let things linger in the maybe I'll get to it someday category. Fifth, the energy audit. Pay attention to what gives you energy and what drains it. People, activities, thoughts, environments. Some of these enhance your ability to focus, and others diminish it. Start spending more time with the energy givers and less time with the energy drainers. I know that sounds simple, but most people have never consciously examined this. And here's the big one. Stop consuming content that makes you feel bad about yourself. The news feed that fills you with anxiety. The social media accounts that make you feel inadequate. The podcasts that leave you feeling hopeless about the world. You don't have to be ignorant about what's happening in the world, but you also don't have to fill your mind with negativity every single day. Negative input creates negative internal dialogue, and negative internal dialogue is one of the biggest focus killers there is. Look, I'm not saying any of this is easy. Changing patterns you've developed over years or decades takes time and patience. But here's what I want you to understand. Every small step you take toward protecting your focus makes you stronger. Not stronger in some abstract motivational poster way, literally stronger. More capable of sustained effort. More able to persist through challenges. More resilient when things don't go according to plan. Because when you can focus deeply on what matters most to you, you develop what I call evidence-based confidence. You start to trust yourself because you have evidence that you can follow through. You start to believe in your ability to create change because you've experienced yourself doing it consistently. So let me bring this all together for you. You are not weak. You never were weak. You've been living in a world designed to fragment your attention, and then you've been blaming yourself for feeling scattered. Starting tomorrow, you're going to begin the process of reclaiming your focus. You're going to choose one thing that matters most to you, and you're going to protect your attention like the valuable resource it is. Some days will be better than others. Some days you'll feel like you're back in old patterns. That's not failure. That's normal. Every time you notice your attention has wandered and you gently bring it back to what matters, you're building strength. 6 months from now, you're going to look back on this moment as the turning point. The day you stopped calling yourself weak and started treating yourself like the focused, powerful, intentional person you actually are. Your dreams are not too big. Your goals are not unrealistic. You are not lacking in talent or strength or capability. You're just distracted, and distraction is fixable. It's time to focus. It's time to reclaim your power. It's time to show the world and yourself what you're really capable of when you stop being scattered and start being centered. The world needs what you have to offer. But first, you need to focus long enough to offer it. Thank you for your attention. Now go use it wisely.